Ladies and gentlemen, the Walking Dead support group is back here for your Walking Dead needs. First, I'm Alex. I'll be your center host. To my left, as always, I have Jason McCarthy. To my right, I've got Keith O'Brien. Tonight, we got a special viewer who's going to be watching us down in Boca Raton tomorrow. Freddie Johnson, who usually catches us on YouTube out in Falmouth, Massachusetts. Freddie is on a little bit of a vacation. I work with his dad, and Freddie is a huge fan of our show. And in fact, he makes his friends come over and watch it with him so they can talk about it. And his father told me that he likes our show better because we talk about all the stuff that goes on in depth, like we enjoy. Obviously, that's what we do. So, Freddie, thank you for watching us. I hope you're having a good time down in Florida. Remember, you're very Irish, so put on some skin lotion. As we always like to start off our show, wait, there's one other thing I need to do. By the way, I know you're in Florida, so in case you didn't catch tonight's episode, this is the only walker you're going to see down in Florida. There it is! It's a real walker! And they're just as slow, I'm just saying.
Where are the tennis balls?
That's from Up. That's a whole other thing. That's Disney. We don't touch that. Anyways, as we always like to start off our show, we're going to do the kill count. Keith, take us away with the kill count, please.
Tonight's kill count is 26 walkers tonight.
26 walkers.
That includes, I guess, flashbacks.
Yes. Well, we're going to take...
episode.
There, why not, right? We got that.
Yeah, they all did die.
That's right.
Twice.
Jason, why don't you take us into some of our followers that have joined us on Twitter?
We have 5 Twitter followers that we want to shout out to tonight. Starting with Jason Julie Whitehead, Meredith Wilson, Buying On, The Blogging Dead, and Eric Hendrickson. Thanks, guys, for following us. We appreciate that.
All right, so let's get into tonight's episode. Sherry is one of our long-standing fans, helped us get into the Walker Stalker Con in Boston, made sure that those guys knew who we were. So we have 2 special treats from Sherry, and I guess she's working on a third already.
Seems so.
BJ, if you would, let's see what Sherry's handiwork is. Bring up still 2, I believe. Maybe not. There it is. If you could take down our graphic. Here we see Jason getting ready to do the deed of taking out everybody back at Terminus. I love how that tight knit fits around your neck. BJ, he's ready. He's in there ready to kill me.
Yeah.
And if you could bring up the third still.
Role reversal.
There it is. Look at that one.
That one's better.
That one is the best.
I like that one.
I love that one the best.
I think it's the best only because it's such a close shot of Jason's face.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you do when you're on this show when I'm not looking? Like, do you do some kind of weird facial contortions?
No,
That's the only one. That's the only one available. She keeps using it.
No,
Yeah,
she's had other ones.
I'm
She's
just
had
dumb
a-
enough to make faces at the camera. And I never
when
learned.
you're looking at it.
Right.
But anyways, all right, so let's get into tonight's episode. And thank you, Sherry, for adding to our meme collection. Generally, I thought it was okay. It was a tad slow in a few parts, considering it was supposed to be the big Abraham episode. We knew they were going to crash that bus, so fortunately they got that over with pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Jason, what are your thoughts about tonight's episode overall?
I thought, it was more of one of those filler episodes where they just kind of fill the backstory in and they talk about, someone's in particular storyline.
Yeah.
And just kind of building up, getting people through it to the more exciting finale episodes. So,
Right. Keith, what about you?
I agree with Jason. It definitely, I wouldn't say it was a filler because it was good action.
Well, yeah, it was.
But I understand what you're saying. It did show us a little bit of backstory on Abraham.
Yes.
And at the end, a backstory between Abraham and Eugene.
Yeah.
Obviously, how he met him because he was about to swallow a bullet, and Eugene runs up needing help or self-help
Walks
in this
up.
case.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
I
thought it was
got
a good
whole new understanding of what self-help meant
needs.
tonight.
That was a great. If you take out we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Relax at home. But that was a great title, self-help for the whole show because it did show a lot of different things about individuality.
Right.
It's particularly Abraham. Which I thought was a good episode to bring us up to speed on where he's from and what he's done, or a little bit of his backstory.
Right.
Brings to light a little bit of his mindset.
But up until this episode, I really thought he was more of an active duty kind of Marine, and now I'm wondering if he's just kind of like one of the
A truck mechanic.
Like a reserve who just is
A motor pool guy.
is something.
Yeah.
I wonder, how legit he is.
Dishonorable discharge, etc.
Something, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know, but he didn't seem to be. He was dressed in civilian clothes when we saw him. He was in the supermarket with his family. One of the things I've noticed, and it routinely seems to happen, and I'll throw this out to you guys. Why is it that when they take over a building, and I agree, like how they took over the library, they moved all the books around and they got it in a good location, why did they not go to the roof? No one ever just gets to the roof and locks the door behind them. Why not? It's a good, I mean, you have a tactical advantage of seeing what's coming.
What's coming?
The weather's nice, obviously, because he's sweating. Abraham's sweating everywhere they go. So why not go to the roof? I mean, tactically, wouldn't that be a better place?
I think people have always just seemed a little bit more. I think everyone would feel safer when you're sheltered with a roof over your head. Right. I don't know.
Well, I
understand what you're saying, but I think the roof would be part of your stronghold. You got the castle, you got the four walls, and you have the roof.
And I mean, I know it's with just the show and all that, but they do a lot of driving around now. Everyone's pretty mobile and out. I've been in this area. I went down for the Atlanticon, and obviously I got to kind of tour Sonoma where they do a lot of this selling. There's not a lot of street signs, but there's no street signs on this thing anymore. You don't see any road signs like this is Route 74. You don't see this is what street this is. Nothing is really labeled.
And the one we saw tonight was "Buckle Up, It's the Law," which they didn't do in the bus, as we saw.
Right. Well, the wheels on the bus go upside down, upside down, upside down. And I will not sing again. I apologize. We just lost everyone who was watching.
The whole feed went down.
Makes it a short show.
So tonight, favorite kill, Jay. What was your favorite kill out of all those?
When Eugene killed the bus, honestly, I wasn't that happy with a lot of the zombie kills.
Really?
Yeah, when he killed the bus, that was the admission to killing the bus. That was the first step to, I'm lying.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite.
I thought he was going to give it up right there and then. That was lying. He wanted the bus to. He was killing the bus so they could stay with the church, stay with the group, and be safe because he's obviously lying about who he was. But then in his admission, he admits that he wants to get there for whatever reason. He feels that's a stronghold.
Right.
Well, that's the center of government, so it used to be.
I just hope it has a roof.
Thanks. I appreciate that. For me, my favorite kill was when they blew the head right off the walker with the fire truck hose. And Keith, you did point in the room. Why is that technically impossible?
That is technically impossible because the pump on the fire truck will not work without the fire engine
exactly
running. Or a generator. But either way, it doesn't work on standing pressure of the tank. You've got to be able to pump the water.
Kathy Lindy Hall is at home watching, and as we're talking everybody into our group, she had just posted up that she is actually home watching us and how much she missed us. So, Kathy, glad you're able to watch us at home tonight. Thank you very much. Yes, because we do this real time, actually, for everybody else who catches us later on. But, hey, it is what it is. Line of the night. There were way too many great lines of the night. And I almost wish we came up with, if we had known, we could have had line of the night for Eugene, line of the night for Abraham, line of the night for Tara, line of the night for Rosita. Maggie really didn't say much, and
it stopped. She said that.
Oh no, she said something.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Because I wrote that down.
Out of everything tonight, I mean, what were some of the best lines? To me, my favorite line originally was, "Scissors or clippers will never touch this hair." But then at the end, when Eugene said, "I wanted to survive," that was the moment where Eugene stopped playing the "I'm the smart scientist" and he stopped playing the redneck. He was just a guy wanting to get through this. And to me, it was, obviously he's acting, but he was acting within the role he had, pretending to be all these other things. And it was that moment that everything came down. He says, "I just wanted to survive." He admitted that he was a good liar, that he is smart. So the question is, what was he before this? And that was the moment to me that I just said, that was the most revealing. That was, to me, the best point for him. So
I heard somebody say video game tester, and I'm going to go with that.
That could very well be. Keith, what was your favorite line of the night?
I did like rub some dirt on it.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, that's what she said.
spending way too much time on the baseball field. I did like that he said, we rub some dirt on it and we'll move on. And, you know, and then Maggie comes right back, I'm not rubbing dirt on anything.
Yeah.
You know, except her, kimchi.
Jason, what was your favorite line of the night?
I kind of went with yours in a way. Mine was, why the hair? Because I like it.
Yeah.
I've always asked that question. Why the hair? I mean, where does that come
and
from?
I'd like to point out, I don't think if it wasn't for Eugene on The Walking Dead, Joe Dirt 2 would not be in production right now. If you don't know that, Joe Dirt 2 is actually in production, and they put a picture of his wig mullet out and said the mullet returns.
But the whole entry to the show started with the hair. We got Rosalita running her hair, her fingers through Abraham's hair. Then we talk about his hair. We talk about cutting the hair. Don't cut the hair.
All right. If you guys haven't been watching the preview monitor, BJ's in there having a great time with all the different transition effects. I think I've seen like 7 different. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a high-tech industry.
He's learning a lot in there.
He's doing it. BJ Foley is a fantastic production guy in there. I love having him on. But so go ahead. I looked up and I went, well, that was a new crossover. Very good. Good job, BJ. That's a lovely shade of red you're turning. Why can't we get a camera in there on him?
We should. We
He says no. I'll talk to Zach. We'll get a camera in there. Anyways, Keith, go ahead.
So, I mean, it was like a huge hair reference. It just was weird because he was bringing up the hair about cutting the hair.
Everybody wanted to talk to him about the hair.
I want to talk to the hair. Why the hair? Why the hair? And then Glenn says, why the hair? You're waiting for somebody to come up behind him like in Jackass and just,
Yeah, you know what? He needed to kind of take a nap and just it was gone.
Just get him when he's sleeping.
But again, we have another biblical reference, mostly to the hair in Samson. So they're bringing in a lot of the subtleties again with the writing. So obviously,
what was the book he was reading? I know it was an H.G. Wells book.
Yeah.
What was the title?
I
missed it.
Yeah,
Someone texted in.
that was the other thing. Like
Somebody
in
texted
tonight's
in.
production, like they gave you something to read, and it was either way too small or it went by too quick. And granted, we're in there taking notes, but watching the Facebook feed and some of the Twitter feed, people are like, what did that say? So
it's out of control.
It really was. Their shots are going way too fast for you to kind of see some of this stuff.
We need production assistants. Does anybody want to be a production assistant on the Walking Dead support group? Come on down.
Why?
I don't know, because I need somebody to take my notes so I can watch the
Oh,
show.
you need somebody to take
I need a
notes.
production assistant.
You need an intern.
I need an intern.
Intern.
I need an
Yes.
intern. That's what I need.
Those of you looking to intern here with the Walking Dead support
Yes.
group, please send your emails to BJ.
BJ.
BJ, you'll handle the screening process.
Take care of that for me.
Make sure the wives approve.
Come on.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All I need is an assistant producer, intern.
I know this is the most we've talked to BJ.
I'll
He
sign
feels
off
lonely
on
in there
it.
sometimes.
I'll sign off. You're going
But Vinny DiGiacomo, who's one of our regular fill-ins for us, his line of the night, and you know what? We all kind of skirted this one, so I'm going to give Vinny credit for it. His line of the night was Abraham saying, "I'm going to go get some," and he did.
It's not what he said, but we'll go.
Well, I know, but we're going to be polite.
We are.
I guess, a little bit.
Keep it
But
G-rated.
and that was the other thing. We haven't had any kind of contact like that in the show, and we haven't really seen it since
Governor and Andrea.
to that level, And then somebody did bring up when we came back, we saw Glenn and Maggie kind of together and got, BJ, you're killing me.
I'm not watching the preview. What is it?
I just
Going up, down,
No,
sideways?
it's everywhere. It's like for a minute there, I thought I had an acid trip or something. I don't know what happened.
He's learned something new.
He's having a fantastic time. I love it. But it's one of those things where you just you're wondering what are they trying to kind of get you to with that. So, but it is what it is. So, for favorite moments from tonight's show.
Is that why there's a couch in every library?
What are you watching late night on TV?
Just telling you.
What if we did a search on your
They're on
browser?
the couch.
I'm just
They're
saying,
on the couch of the
just
library.
on the couch.
Every library's got a couch.
Favorite moments from tonight's show. Go ahead, guys. Throw it out there. What do you got?
Admission to guilt, the lying. I'm not a scientist. That was what a lot of us were waiting for, I think. And they're so far out there now that who knows what's going to happen. But we were talking about that before the show.
Right.
I lied. I'm not a scientist.
And we were wondering when that was going to come out. And we know there's 3 episodes left.
Yep.
In this half, and they love to do that to us. So, we were wondering how long we're going to do that, and that was one of the problems that we had pretty much through season 4, was that we all could kind of see where it was going, and we wanted it to speed up. and they weren't getting this. And now, timeline-wise, they are doing a lot better. Keith, what were some of your favorite parts of the night?
I like that both trucks broke down. It's just, because it kind of centers around the whole, self-help thing. They're trying to,
Right.
Abraham's trying to move the process. He's trying to move forward, and boom, he flips the bus over because, I don't know, he's driving too fast or whatever. And then he can't keep the fire truck running. And then, that's what I like. I like the fact that they.
Well, you know what, though, but at a certain point, these vehicles got to stop working.
Correct, because they're not being,
and they're not being turned over, they're not being maintained, the batteries are not keeping their charge, and they're going to dwindle. We've got to be pushing 2 years into this almost by now, right? We know we've gone through one really good winter. At a certain point, these vehicles have to stop working. And so they've got to stop finding stuff that's going to work.
Or they got to find something that maybe nobody's used before. Obviously, that fire truck was used before.
Right.
Right. The bus they repaired, and it was just poor driving / glass in the engine line.
Yeah.
But they come across this fire truck, and I mean, did he think? He says, "Oh, and it's got 500 gallons of water." Would you really drink out of the tank?
No.
Number one. Number
Gotta be
two.
better than toilet water.
No, that's completely clean water. In the back of the toilet, that is clean water.
Yeah, that's clean water in the back of the toilet.
Oh, all right.
Not the bowl, but in the
Oh, good.
tank.
Okay.
Yeah. That's absolutely
Plumbing
100%
101,
clean
brother.
water.
Might not look good, but at least it's semi-clean, and it's in a
Right.
container. Unless somebody's taking an upper decker in your house. Just saying.
Don't Google that.
Yeah, Google that.
No, don't Google that.
Google that.
No, wrong.
So I'm going to get my own meme.
So for me, some of my favorite moments of that night was seeing the mega herd.
Oh, yeah,
we
the
know
two-hit.
that's coming, and I don't think we're going to really see that till near the end. So
Right out of the Breakfast Club. Me hitting you, 2 hits, me hitting you
Oh,
on the floor.
and you know what? I even said when Eugene kind of came to and Abraham was punching him. I'm sorry, that first punch, you could kind of see the lights were going, and then that second punch, he was gone, and he literally just went bam face first. That was awesome.
Did he crack his head and he's going to turn?
Well, that was I saw that first hit, and I said I wouldn't have taken that one. I would have been out.
Yeah.
That would have done it for me. Especially when he just got slammed against the fire truck, and now he's getting hit by Cutlets, who he's a decent sized guy. He is no small potato, and I don't think Eugene's been hit in a long time. Maybe since 5th grade when he lost his lunch money. You know what I mean? It's just that was pretty good. The other moment I liked, which I thought was very telling, was Rosita was ready to draw down on Abraham.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was a good scene.
That was you now know they are connected, that they are having relations. That they're
connected.
She's in the back, behind him. Yeah, connected. She's in the back behind him, saying, "Oh, I got to fix your hair. We'll get that cleaned up, neatened it up a little bit. I know how you like it." There's the first indication that they are sweet on each other, and then it moves forward more. And then all of a sudden, she's ready to draw down on him. So,
don't touch him.
right, I'm done. You're not going to do that. I thought that was like a really, and he just like, really? And then you had mentioned that even during his flashbacks, he had a very similar injury on his hand that he had in this episode.
Right, he has that same, to me it seemed like, I think I'm right, he has that same cut on the hand when he's taking care of that, we're assuming his family, when the whole zombie apocalypse started thing. And he keeps saying that it's an old wound that keeps opening. And, I think everybody was like, oh, I'm sure everybody was online going, oh, he's going to be infected because the blood's getting in the cut. No, they clean the cut up every time, but every time he hits somebody, and then what does he do? He punches Eugene twice, and the blood and the cut opens up again.
And
He's had that cut for a long time, and it just will not heal.
But I think that's the other thing about like an old wound that opens up.
Yeah, it opens up your memories.
It's not just, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was an emotional thing. And that's what was triggering the flashback. Instead of just having a flashback in a dream, you actually had this connection to the current timeline that was sending him back, which I thought was a really good kind of bit of filming and editorializing of what was going on and explaining it to you. But when you're constantly scratching at an old wound, it's never going to heal.
Right.
So is that the lesson? Is that the self-help? I've got to stop this. I need to let go of my past. The past is gone. As much as he's talking about, you can't go back.
Yeah.
He's still going back in his head. And that's really, we saw that in his flashbacks, and that's why he's saying, no, you got to go forward. You got to go forward. And we've been saying that too, that you got to stay mobile. You've got to be willing to kind of up and go.
One thing they didn't explain that I'd like to see is why was his family so afraid of him? Those people in the grocery store, were those humans or were those walkers?
That last guy looked like a human to
looked
me.
like a human.
The guy who got the canned hash
canned
across the
hash.
head. Yeah, that was. I think he might have just gone on a rampage trying to protect his family, and that's probably what scared them. I mean, we don't know. We may not know. We just know that they were definitely somewhat of afraid of him. But you know, did anyone get a good look at that receipt? And if you did, if you're at home and you got a good look at that receipt, would you put it up on our Facebook page? Because I'd like to kind of see it. Zombie Report is usually pretty good. I'll send him a tweet later, and if he has it, I'll share it with everybody. So here's a question for you guys, and now that we've seen the mega herd at this point, at what point does the human to zombie ratio, this balance, stop? Because at a certain point, you're going to start running out of people to turn, and they're constantly killing walkers. The ratio of living, dying, and becoming a walker versus the living killing the walkers is dramatically skewed. At a certain point, this should start to level off.
Yeah, but we see them walking over the hill, and what are we looking at? I mean, to me, they're looking at one of the, I guess, a mega herd.
Yep.
You know, and
this herd
is the smell. Is the smell that they smell the walkers that are just confined to? I think you had mentioned. You said, "Oh, is it a slaughterhouse, or is it like a farmland, or is it a cow pasture, or is it a chicken farm, or something?" Because we saw fences on both sides of the road, and
right.
all you saw was like little people heads, and they said they weren't going down that road because it's just crowded with walkers. I mean, so that kind of like offsets what you're thinking. I mean,
right?
Like I agree with you. Sooner or later, you're going to have more walk. You know, the walkers are going to be what? 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1, 10,000 to 1, and it's not like, I mean, I'm sure other survivors are having the same kind of, groups. There's plenty of groups out there, we're sure, right? But all we know of people that are coming into this world are Judith.
Right.
Yeah.
But we do know that people are still getting busy.
I'm sure.
Sooner or later, someone else is going to get pregnant.
Right. Sooner or later, somebody else is going to get pregnant, or maybe that's the cure. You know, the first newborn. You know, that'll be like the movie plot of the century. But I think it's eventually, like, I often thought about this. When is getting rid of all the walkers? How do you get rid of all the walkers? Because as soon as, you know, if 10 refugees crash on a bus, we got 10 brand new walkers coming out of the bus. You know?
Right, but that's the thing is the walkers have no definitive way at advancing how they hunt or kill.
No.
Humans do.
Right, but obviously, as we say, the timeline, because I think this came up, I can't remember if it was on one of the websites or our website, but people talk about it, that, you know, we look at the store that we broke into, and they were in the basement and they were in the flood. You know, there's different levels of decay.
Right.
You know, eventually the walkers are just going to decay off and die, and they'll just be walking around skeletons. Because when the fire hose hits them, granted, it's a great scene.
They won't be.
They're ripping body parts off, ripping heads off, ripping body parts, and just tearing through their thing. So they're eventually going to decompose to a point where there won't be any walkers.
But how soon is that? I mean, every time we've seen that
we don't know
advanced
that.
decay, it's been in a well, like in Herschel's farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not just on a well though. You have
even the guys walking around turn from, like, you know, brown to gray to.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I mean, and we haven't seen that the difference of walkers since that swine flu at the prison. You know, there was a clear difference to those walkers who had that bleeding from the eyes. So, you know, sooner or later, are we going to see different types of walkers that, you know, some are like, and we know if the minute you take off their arms and their jaws, they're benign.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in theory, you don't actually have to go around and kill them all. It's probably easier to just kill them. But
I would think so.
to negate how dangerous they are, all you have to do is take off their jaw because now they can't bite. So I hope we eventually start to see a better explanation of the mindset of what the walkers are like and why. You know, because they don't really go after anything else besides humans. Like that one time we saw her in the cow pasture, they weren't really interested in the cow as soon as there was a human there.
No, they didn't. They're just interested in the blood.
Right.
You know,
or I mean, I don't know
whatever.
if I think they're more interested in just eating.
Yeah.
You know.
They just need something. You know, we saw that when Rick killed the pigs, and you know, they get like a deer or the horse in Atlanta. You know, they get their hands on the blood and they just want to eat. But eventually they turn and see somebody else.
Right. And I still say in the woods of Georgia, there has to be a bear somewhere
just kind of ripping through. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
there's like, you know, humans on a good day can't stop a bear, and that's with guns. There's no way a walker, even like
No.
20 walkers, are going to stop a bear.
That goes to the
But it
point
is a
I'm gonna
TV
bring
show.
up.
I know, but still,
I look at the walkers,
be
the
a great
herds.
kill.
would
They're
be.
like army ants. If you see a single army ant, you're going to step on it. But a whole mess or a whole herd, if you will, of army ants, they're going to swarm over you. They're going to tear you apart. It's the numbers that lend strength to them.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I just, at a certain point, I think that this, and I hope with the mega herd, I know why we're seeing the mega herd. It's because we all went crazy over the thing at Herschel's farm, and everyone's like, where's another one?
Yeah.
And they had one at that vet school, and then they kind of like let that alone.
Yeah, let that alone. But you bring up an interesting point because you say like you talk about the bear, like you want to see a bear like tear apart a walker, and like our group just walk away and hey, good job. But as you say, where's the ratio between humans to walkers, right? Where is the ratio between humans to walkers to wild animals? Because wild animals don't care about the zombie apocalypse, right? Wild animals are procreating and boom, you know, I mean, obviously, only Daryl's the only person who can find squirrels. He can't find deer, he can't find rabbit, all he can do is find squirrels.
Right.
But
The
my
last time
point
they
is-
found a deer, Carl got shot.
Right, but my point is, if you look in real life, you know, they talk about, you know, not to get off tangent, but they talk about like Chernobyl, you know, whatever it is now, 20, 30 years later, like the wildlife is taken over.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, why aren't there 100 coyotes running around Georgia killing walkers?
Right. There should be a pack of coyotes. You know,
They don't show enough of the animals.
But the walkers, they don't care what they're eating.
No.
Yeah, but they don't seem to go after the wildlife.
Yeah.
So our point is why isn't, you know, I mean, you know, help us out here, wildlife, you know, Wild Kingdom, you know.
That would be like a very interesting Mutual of Omaha
Mutual of
episode.
Omaha. I was trying to think of it. Thank you.
Today on Mutual of Omaha, as the mother cub attacks the Walking Dead. But you know, that's some of the stuff that we kind of think about. And yes, we're obviously addicted to the show, and I freely admit it. But that's why we have this support
We
group.
got way off tangent.
But that's
Chernobyl.
yeah. How'd you bring Chernobyl into this? But anyway.
I don't know.
Well, that's how we're going to kill the
Because
mega
if you
herd.
think, no, because...
Oh, how
other
do you
than-
kill the mega
wait a
herd?
minute, other than...
There you go. What's the
Hey,
prediction for the mega herd? Hold on, we'll come back.
Okay.
I want to see another awkward face on Jason.
All right. The
Look at the
opposite
camera.
of what...
Sherry needs you to look at the camera.
The opposite... in that case,
I got
look
it.
at you. No, seriously, the opposite of what Eugene did with the water hose, that's what they have to do with the mega herd. Find a way to light them on fire. Napalm, doesn't matter. You know, light them up. The fire will spread. There's so many of them.
So you want like, you know, full, what was it, Apocalypse Now?
Yes, absolutely.
The music and everything.
Yeah, Flight of the Valkyries
Yeah,
playing in the
Flight of the
background.
Valkyries,
Oh, and how was their music playing on that bus? I know somebody said that there might have been a cassette or a CD player.
probably got
No way, there was music
It's
playing on
probably
that
an
bus.
8-track.
Okay, I got nothing.
Georgia.
On that, there you go. It's Georgia. So they still have 8 tracks? We apologize to everyone in Georgia watching this show tomorrow.
So you hate mail to
Yeah.
BJ Foley.
care of HCAM.
So
Here in Allred.
before we wrap up, we like to kind of give out some of the things that we've learned from tonight's episode. Jason, what did you learn from tonight's episode?
You know, my impression of Eugene has always been he's boring. I learned tonight that, I was thinking about it, yeah, he's boring the way that he talks, his monotone, but always interesting themes, always interesting things seem to happen when he's around. And just the one-liners that are a result of something he does or says, and, you know, it's boring and interesting at the same time.
I learned from tonight's episode that there is pretty much a limitless way that you can just destroy a walker's body. Hitting it with that hose and seeing the heads just kind of pop right off. Yeah, that was great. And it reminds me of the next time I see like a bunch of college kids out riding somewhere and they get sprayed by the hose. It'll be like, any heads? Any heads? No? Okay. Damn it. Keith, what did you learn from tonight's episode?
I learned tonight that although it should be just based in the zombie apocalypse, lying in the zombie apocalypse is never good.
Fair enough.
Much like it shouldn't be anyways, but lying to your family, loved ones, the people that take care of you, your little group of marauders, lying is never good.
Very good. All right, so as we wrap up this episode of the Walking Dead Support Group, be sure to follow us on Facebook. or Twitter. There we go. I'll follow you, BJ. How's that? I'll look at the screen. You just push whatever button you want.
Yeah, not so quick now. Wow, 25 minutes later.
So we are on Facebook. We do create like one post for the day of, so everybody can kind of jump in on that, because we do have people who follow us later on in the week, and so they don't want to get hit with the spoilers. And on Twitter, there it is. And once again, our new graphics, loving them. This is the first week that Jason's been here to appreciate them. So Sam DeFrayas, once again, they look fantastic. We absolutely love them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or here at Holbrook Cable Community Access and Media. So on behalf of Jason McCarthy, Keith O'Brien, I am Alex Mann. This has been the Walking Dead Support Group, and until next week, walk on.
Good night, guys.
Good night.